not what you would think. He said that there were flat screen displays showing information. Now wait a minute. You know, TV in 1952 was a crazy thing. He used the words flat screens. What was he seeing that he would describe it like that, right? Then he said that there were no levers, and if you remember everything in those old movies, everybody had, right? He said no, all the buttons were flat. What? Now he obviously saw things or had a glimpse of the future, you know, and for somebody to have that kind of description of something in 1952, it didn't come from any science fiction movies that I know of in 1952. He was certainly there. He saw that technology that I'm talking about right now. Do you think that we can handle it? Because your uncle did, and he grasped what he was seeing. And I find that very, very interesting. So what do you think, Chad?
I absolutely think that we're ready, and actually in some circles it's already occurring. I mean, everything from, you know, we've gone from flip phones to something out of 2001. Everyone's got their own obelisk or whatever that is in their pocket with computing skills that are just, you know, it's beyond comprehension. That part is beyond comprehension. Everyone here has the technology already. So with nanotechnology and with all the things that are going on, we're already here. I mean, it's already here. And most, you know, I mean, and when it comes down to awareness, as far as how to utilize all this stuff, well, everyone's doing it. I mean, everyone's, you know, I mean, well, for me, what I do when I want to figure out technology, I go to, you know, 8-year-olds because they're very helpful. They're already, I'm seriously. I mean, they know things that, I mean, so it's already there, and I think it's right above our heads. It's already here, and actually it has to do with awareness, and that change will come just like that.
I'm opening it up to questions. Who's first? What's your name?
I have a saying that on my website here, and it says, "The journey has ended, the fantastic voyage begins."
Ah, there you go. Questions. Jerry Springer. Yeah. What's your name? Real quick. Peter. What's your question?
Two-part question. It's the same corollary, and that is, have you ever, when talking to other people, ask them if they've ever heard of Coral Castle? If they haven't, then look it up and find out what it is. Because you're talking about a 5-foot-tall man from Lafayette who came to the United States, could barely speak English, and he created this entity in Florida, a 30-ton door. Not only did he create this, but a few years later he moved it 10 miles away, all by himself. How is that possible? Why don't more people know about that? The other thing is, how many of you ever heard of or understand the concept of reading, remembering, and recalling what you read at the rate of 1 million words per minute? I taught a course like that 10 years ago. So it is totally possible today, but yet how many people even know?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. And it just shows you how loud my voice is, right? Is it really that loud?
Yes.
Okay. Who wants to, okay, the question is, let me paraphrase really quick. Was there some kind of technology used at Coral Castle because it was impossible for one man to build it? We all agree with that, totally. So, who wants to go first with that?
Is the same technology that built the Great Pyramid of Giza?
I'm right with Len. Brad.
The Coral Castle is the only modern megalithic structure in the world built in the 20th century. That should tell you something right there. I cover it in my book, Sacred Places North America. It's an utterly fascinating site. It is, we're talking about multi-ton blocks that are high up on other multi-ton blocks.
And they would just appear overnight, too. You'd show up the next day, he had done something nutty.
So many people
Right?
asked him how he did it,
Right.
and his answer was, I knew the secrets of the ancient Egyptians.
Really?
Yep. So it could have been a form of auditive levitation.
Who said really? Was that Richard?
No.
Who said really? I heard somebody say really.
She did.
Oh,
I
Terry.
did. I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know he said
Anybody
that.
else want to touch that? Yeah, go ahead, Patty.
I like it that they went immediately to the pyramid, but hello, Stonehenge. We're talking the same technology, but the fact that it happened in this century is extremely exciting that he knows the secrets that they were using many, many years ago. So yes, we're here. It's happening. It's available. And I love the idea that Chad said that we're all running cell phones, even 8-year-olds. Yeah, we're way ahead of where we were 10 years ago, big time.
I do think that the new frontier, however, is artificial intelligence. The movie, how many people saw Blade Runner? The movie Blade Runner?
I watched it last week.
Okay, based on a story by Philip K. Dick, who was excellent. The only way they could tell the aliens from the artificial people from the real people was through a special eye exam. That was the only way they could tell. And actually, if anyone's seen the new movie Eye in the Sky,
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
that
yeah.
last week too.
where
I'm not kidding.
she sent a drone down based on facial recognition technology of somebody that they could see from 22,500 feet in the air. That's getting very close to Blade Runner.
Yeah, absolutely. Questions? Raise your hand so I can get to you.
Brad was going to add to that last,
Oh,
or Brett rather.
Brett, you want to jump in?
Oh, sure. Is this still on?
Yes.
Okay. In chapter 19 of my first book, Song in Your Heart, Story of the Search for a Lost Note, I crossed some Bruce Cathy information with Coral Castle. He actually writes about it. And with some Richard Hoagland HD physics. So Bruce Cathy maintains that Edward Leeds Scullin knew where a vortex point was on the ley line grid. He mapped it out. I've got some custom ley line maps in my first book. I'm very fascinated with Cathy's ley line grid because he says the UFOs follow them. Okay, so according to Cathy, he utilized the diamagnetic electricity to lift stones based on the crossing of the ley lines. So that's what Cathy said. Now, the sound stuff too, that sounds as plausible to me as well. So, but when I told Hoagland about that in my interview for chapter 19, he actually was so intrigued, he went down there and did atomic clock experiments and was able to prove that there's something different in a fourth dimensional kind of a hyperdimensional energy down there because the atomic clock reading wound up being different than the regular clock. So.
What's fascinating to me with Coral Castle, he never got busted, right? Never got busted. Nobody saw it. You know, nobody heard a backhoe. You know, you know what I mean. There was nothing there sound-wise. No big bulldozers or equipment or cranes. You know, there was none of that there. And I just find that fascinating. Nobody saw him ever. And it's the most complex, you know, structure and there's just one guy. He never got busted, and I really think that's important. I'll get to you in a second, Egyptian.
I want to add one more thing,
Yes.
only because Brett just triggered me. 96% of all the crop circles are sitting on a ley line, and they're also sitting over water, 96.7%. So we're talking the same kind of energy. If it's running ley lines, sitting over water,
Aquifer. Yes.
frequencies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Colleen.
Okay. What I wonder about is, alien UFO experiences. I've had most of mine in the astral plane while I'm asleep or just coming up or who knows where. Is there a preponderance for one or the other? Do most people, experiencers, do they have a realistic, or I should say realistic, a real-time awareness of that happening? Are they dreaming also? Are they in the astral plane or whatever?
Yeah, that's
What does it matter?
very, very interesting.
What does it matter? I mean, what does it matter? I mean, it's the same information. You're just getting it in different time frame.
It would validate it for me if I was not the only one that was dreaming.
If you were
this.
consciously aware, that would validate it for you.
Yeah, because I'm not sure which it is. I'm not-
Right. Well, I think Chad is also insinuating. I don't want to speak for Chad, but don't they have the same weight, right?
They have the exactly same weight. In fact, I asked my unconscious computer for the lottery numbers. Okay, and actually, I'm not kidding. And I got a number 4 through the dream state. Now I couldn't follow along, to get the other numbers, but for 3 draws, it was number 4. I got a vivid number 4. That came through a dream state. So, and that actually, even though I won a little bit of money, it materialized through the dream state. I couldn't think of that. I wouldn't have gotten it any other way. So,
Yeah, interesting. Patty, didn't you tell me once
Yes.
that you were woken up out of a dream state and looked out the window and your life was changed, right?
No window.
Oh, what was it? I'm just trying.
It was 3 a.m.
Yes.
They would wake me up
Right,
every morning when I was making the movies.
right.
And I remembered being I was so sleepy, but I remember fighting, going, oh, please let me sleep. After like the 3rd movie, I'm just like, oh, come on, you guys. Can we do this during the day? And you can't make deals. So I remember like a few times just desperately trying to get to sleep, going, I'm imagining this, and they didn't let me. So I grabbed the damn pen and paper, and I woke up in the morning.
That's right.
With notes. Now, all my movies pretty much happened at 3 a.m.
Stop right there for a second. What is up with 3 a.m.? What is up with 3 a.m.?
It's the witching hour.
Yeah, what is up with 3 a.m.?
Show of hands right now, 3 a.m. Does it mess with you?
3 a.m. 3 a.m.
What is up? Did we just lose the PA system again? Okay.
Hold on.
Actually, right in the middle. I am magnetic, man.
You're just magnet.
Stay there.
Yeah, right.
Just stay there.
So, what's up with 3 a.m.?
But I wanted to say that the one time I actually saw a ship was bright daylight. And I was in Palm Springs, and I had just been insulted by a family member, and I walked outside, rolled my eyes, leaned back, and next thing I knew, it's above me.
Wow.
And it was broad daylight, Palm Springs, who knew? And I thought I was imagining it. So a couple ladies walked by, and I said, excuse me, do you see something right up above me? And she said, oh, what is that red thing? Oh, wait, it's white. And I went, oh, God, it is real. It turned red, it turned white, and it was bright light. And as soon as they walked away, I was like, wow, validated by other humans. And then, bang, right in front of me, I saw something the size of a space shuttle with my eyes. And I'd never seen a full-on ship. It looked like a space shuttle. I can remember it to this day. But first the women had to confirm for me that I wasn't hallucinating, and then they showed me a full-on ship. And it was 200 feet off the ground. It wasn't, it was, I'm like, are other people seeing this? It was unbelievable. So that was day and that was night. So it's both.
I had a very similar experience just recently. We live in Sonata, and we're looking over the bay, and there were 2 ships, and they were just standing there. And this happened a few months ago. And so I looked at it, I said, oh, there's 2 ships. Then I grabbed my wife, who actually has never shared any of this stuff with me, and I go, do you see what that is? And she goes, there's 2 ships out there. And I go, hallelujah. I swear that validation is worth, I swear to God, I'd pay $50,000 because, I see them, I think, well, why don't you see them? And then my wife saw it, I said, oh my God, thank God. So,
That helps.
Carrie.
I want to just jump in on your question, and I know a number of people who've had those types of experiences that you're talking about, like, are you in a lucid dream or not? There's a wide variety of these experiences. I spoke to a person last week, a woman who was in her bed. She felt something touch her body. And I just asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how awake were you? And even before I answered the question, she said 10. She was wide awake. She knew she was wide awake. And she just felt this being. It's been there for many times. She seems plagued by it. Other people have had these types of experiences. And I really wonder, is it a dimensional, is it an entity? This is different from what you've had. But there's,
Since I've been growing up, I got married
Okay, hold on.
I guess no one can hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When I was on my honeymoon, I was woken up by, we were sleeping tent camping up at Tahoe, and a ray of light, or a beam of light came in. I was fully awake, fully alert. And it was a beautiful triangular pyramidal spaceship. And all I can remember about that is I was so sad they were leaving. It was like my family.
But you were awake.
Who knows? A lucid dream or in a
Right.
state?
Right.
Maybe, I don't really know. That's why I don't really know.
Well, I had my own experience in my bedroom when I was 30, and a nice little same thing. Woke up. I don't want to take up time here with this, but when I hear these stories, I have to relate back to myself. You know, is somebody, you know, I'm trying, and I've never given away the details publicly of what went down because I want to hear it from somebody else, and I'll know if my experience is real by listening to somebody else's with little tiny, you know, those tiny little things that only I know. That, you know, I was alone in a room with another person, and things went down. And I think it's very important. And so when I hear this, you know, I'm telling you right now, I had a little dude at the foot of my bed, and we had a blinking contest for 15 minutes. I'm watching him stare at. I'm not kidding about this. And I really wanted to hurt him. I really did, and I couldn't. But that's. I'm not going to go into the details. But when I hear this,
Was he Indian? Was he a little Indian guy? Because I had
no, I only saw, again, I don't want to take up time on the panel. I saw him from the waist up, and he was about this tall, and I was in bed, and there he was, you know, and I was living alone. And this was next to a sliding glass door, so I'm thinking I had sliding glass doors in my bedroom, and I thought somebody came in from the sliding glass door. Second story, kind of impossible, but I'm tripping, right? Well, there you go. And there's more to the story than that, but we blinked he kept blinking, you know, that was the bizarre thing. So, to answer your question, people have asked me if it was a gray or if it was this. This was at night, at 3 a.m., by the way. And I could see his head and his shoulders, and was it a gray? Was it a person? Was it, I don't know. You know, I don't know. Okay, Carrie.
Yeah, I wanted to ask kind of a different subject. The cable, these ETs that are working behind the scenes, does everyone really believe that? Because, like, I'm leaning towards that. I can't believe that humans are this evil. Are they?
Oh, you mean the cabal?
Right.
You said cable, I'm thinking CNN.
Cabal.
So,
Yeah.
you know, and I was with you on the CNN aspect.
No. Well,
Okay.
they may be there too.
So, I swear
You're right.
that's where I thought you were going, and it made sense.
What?
The cabal, is the cabal
What are
running
these?
with, and see, everybody just nodded their heads all the way, okay. Brett, go ahead.
Just real quickly, I went through this with Len Horowitz, who did not believe that there were aliens that were as involved, that maybe they were there, but that seems to be a real turning point for a lot of intellectual people. When they see the strife and the famine, the pollution, just straight up the murder, savagery of the human race, they begin to ask themselves, could humans really do this to humans, or is it something else? And so that really turned Len into the UFO thing a bit more, right? To see the bigger picture. So I think that's a really great point. I don't think humans really want to do this to each other. I think at heart we all just want to be happy and celebrate, right? That's why we came
Dolan
here.
wants to smack me right now. Just letting
Was
you
that
know.
now?
He might have some anger issues he needs to work on.
Oh, dude.
Don't go.
I will, actually, that's where I have to. Do I have to?
Vibe this? I vibed it?
I hope you were not serious when you said that.
No.
I'm
just joking.
I'm just riffing.
I actually do think that humans are pretty messed up and engage in tremendous amounts of sadism with each other. I think a lot of them have compunction about it. So I think that it's entirely possible for humanoid to be totally evil. Having said that, if I were doing counterintelligence on behalf of the human race, I would have to consider that they have insinuated themselves into our power structure. If I were one of them, it would make the most sense, because we're about to leap into their world anyway. So we've got all this capability, all this technology, strong AIs on the way. I would, if I were them, I'd want it control key aspects.
So you think it's in the DNA? I'll bring up something.
Well, I think it's in our civilization. I think it's in male patriarchy.
Well, okay,
and I
but
think
let
it's in
me.
a distortion of our what should be our fundamental loving person character, but has been distorted due to our history.
There's an island off the coast of India that to this day is completely protected. The inhabitants there have never seen technology. There's no airplanes, it's protected airspace. They've made zero contact. And in 2005, when the tsunami hit, the Indian government said, hey, let's go and at least make sure that they're okay, right? So a couple of helicopters approached the island, right? They've never seen a helicopter. They don't know, right? They've never, ever. You know what they did? Rocks, arrows, where they tried to, they were angry, and they attacked these helicopters that they've never seen. And I thought that was a really interesting, almost instinctual thing, that they just wanted to attack and hurt what they were seeing approach that they had never seen before. And isn't that interesting?
They were frightened.
But why attack? Run and hide.
It was a demon to them.
Yeah.
It
So
felt
it's
like a
just,
threat.
so is it in our DNA?
Yeah.
You know?
I
Is it-
don't think it's in our DNA. I do think that the barbarity that was shown in World War II by the Axis forces was brought on by contact with barbaric reptilian influences. I don't think barbarity is part of the human soul. I just don't.
Yeah, okay, I'm with you. Questions? Okay.
Can we stay on that one for a second?
Sure. Who was first?
She was purple.
Okay. Go ahead, Patty.
Well, I personally feel like what I've tolerated in the industry, I'm dealing with a Nazi. And I think that we are in a time where, I listen to Jim Mars, we have so many Nazis in America running things right now that I do believe we've got a real problem here. And who thinks Nazi anymore? That is so 1940s. Oh no, it isn't. Very unfortunate that they didn't go away, they didn't die. And unfortunately, they've infiltrated America, and we are really tolerating some very awful things. And when you started talking about an island off America, my head went right to, off India, sorry. My head went right off the island in America where we've got our presidents hurting children. I'm sorry, you know, the pedophiles. How low is low? I mean, I think the pedophile thing going on right now is so rampant that now they're putting in school programs. I just saw this on, I don't have a TV for years, but I saw that it was on TV, that now they're forcing schools to teach 8th graders about, I'm sorry to say this on camera, but anal and oral sex. What is this about? Preparing them for pedophiles. What's going on? And the woman at the end of the news article actually said, and our school was told, if we won't install this program, we lose our funding. This is America, 2016. We've got a real problem here, and if we don't take it down, it's really not okay. But I do want to ultimately, before the panel's over, talk about the reset which is about to happen, because I think we're at rock bottom humanity. I don't think we've ever been like this. As a human species, I think we've fallen to an all-time low. And for me, as a mother, when I think of pedophiles that are presidents, vice presidents, governors, senators, I'm disgusted.
Wow. Okay, Patty. Thank you.
Jimmy, real quick, you mentioned the primitive tribes. It's the Andaman Islands, and I cover this in my book, Modern Esoteric. Hundreds of thousands of people died in the tsunami. I had the opportunity, I was on a press trip to Thailand and Malaysia. I visited PP, which was totally wiped out, many Westerners dead. Not a single Andaman Islander died in the tsunami. How's that? I have a chapter in my book, Modern Esoteric, about primitive wisdom. They're in touch with the harmonics of the world. They watched the animals. All the animals fled to the highlands. You couldn't feel the earthquake in the Andaman Islands, but they knew something was up. All the islanders went to the highlands, not a single one of them.
Yeah, the rest of society was watching the Kardashians.
Very compelling.
What's your name? Carolina, what's your question?
My question to the panel is, if you agree that there's bad aliens, reptilians, and there's also good aliens, like positive aliens.
And that's the question of the day, every single day. Okay, so I think, does everybody want to, I want everybody to have a crack at this. Richard, you nodded first. Richard, are there good and bad?
I think that if I were to look at the evidence and the research that's been done, I think
Jimmy, come stand in your place.
I think there's
I don't see how magnetic you are. I'm not doing anything. I just put my hand back there.
Check.
all right. I think
You need
that
to stay
there.
here. Stay. Sit.
Okay, we're good. Go ahead, Richard.
I think there's been a variety of other beings that are here that are interacting, and my guess, I mean, just judging by the reactions that people have had, some of them seem kind of indifferent. They don't seem like they're all evil. They have an agenda. Some of them leave a very, very bad vibe with people, very bad flavor in the mouth, and depending on if you believe everyone, that there's a tremendous variety. It's hard to know. I suspect that we're of great interest to a lot of intelligences that can look at us right now, particularly where we are in our history. So I think we would attract, just because, you know, we have, just as we have a variety of people, we have people who are angelic and people who are sadistic and everything in between. There's no reason that I would think they're all the same. So I think there's probably different agendas.
Glenn, go ahead.
I think the human race is fundamentally decent and honorable, basically, and trying to do the right thing. I think a lot of the evil influences do come from ETs, particularly the reptilians, who are known to be sadistic, cruel, and domineering. And I think the more we learn about our relationship and how we've been influenced by them, the more we will realize that what we consider barbarity of humans has really been grafted onto our character. We are not like that. I don't think
I
we are
have to
like that.
respectfully disagree. I mean, with respect, but I just look, when I look at history, I see the human race, human civilization engaging in wars over perceived needs for survival, ideology. If that's all reptilian, then I need to see the evidence for that. I just think that that's a part of our own development.
Next, anybody else? Brett.
I'll take that. That's right in my wheelhouse right now. That's why I'm going to the deliverance ceremony Monday morning in Yuba City, because I've been dealing with certain cases where the women have just these dark, horrendous contact events where they come back with scratches or slime, and they're losing all kinds of time, and their lives are all up in upheaval. And in an effort to try to help these women, I've kind of found my way to the church because there's some crossover with some of these abductions with exorcisms. Okay, it's a fascinating subject. But my contention is that the good ETs, and I really hope that there are good ETs, I don't know that there are, I haven't actually seen any. I really hope there are, because I think they were trying to contact us early on. That's what we have in the first kind of wave of contacted cases. Wendell Stevens chronicled a lot of that stuff.
Giant rock.
Yeah, Integratron, all that stuff, right? The early stuff. So they were all had the same basic message. We needed to clean up ourselves and get our houses in order, because our technology had advanced beyond our spirituality. So I think, and I'll be talking about this tomorrow in a lot more depth, the good ones, because they're perpetrating a formal public relations campaign upon us, they had to reevaluate their strategy. If their first strategy was, let's go directly contact certain people that we've evaluated fit a certain profile, and Wendell Stevens was the first guy to put out an abductee Conti profile. They would isolate these kind of people, contact them, and then try to spread the word. Well, what did we do in response? We ridiculed the contactees. We tried to scramble jets to go shoot down their craft. And so the good ones, if there's good ones out there, had to reevaluate their strategy. And they thought, in my opinion, we must back off because the human race is not spiritually ready for us yet. So as they back off,
We did the same thing on the islands, attacking the helicopters, right?
Yeah, so they backed off. That allows the bad ones to come in.
Right, and crafts show up here. What do we do?
They're helping us with our spirituality, no matter who they are.
Yeah, that's it.
They're forcing us to answer these questions. I think that's why they're.
But let me ask you this. I'll throw this out to the panel real quick, and then if that is the case, then why haven't they taken us out already?
Yeah, right.
Because they can't. They can't take us.
Why is that, Chad?
Because the essence within the human condition, that's the thing that we have. They actually need us as much as we need them. We're one of the whole. We're not separate. People keep wanting to separate all and categorize the aliens and us. We're actually one. We're actually one, and we need each other. We have the essence within ourselves to procreate, to do all kinds of marvelous things, to ascend our.
Speaking to the mic.
Yeah, to ascend our base needs. We can actually reprogram, reset our abilities. We don't have to all be criminals or be evil. We have the ability of making choices. And so what my contention is, as far as the negative aspects or the negative aliens as far as that, they are working everything works in polarity. I mean, there's positive and negative. That's what makes things work in our world. So we've got to take the good with the bad. So it's not either or, it's both.
Excellent answer. Thank you, Chad.
I've got one here too.
Go ahead.
I want to be the girl on the panel and talk about the good ETs. How about the ones that shut off all the nuclear devices?
Yes,
those are good ones.
Yes.
I'd say there's no doubt they were
Right.
good ones. But I also want to talk about where the billions of dollars are going with all these men, Elon Musk, pointing out into space, trying to communicate with them, ignoring the women that are going, yo, there's a crop circle over here, they just left you a message. Yo, there's a crop circle over there, they just left you a message. So I think they're quite benign because I've been dealing with them for 10 years. They're extremely friendly, they're very gentle. When I was taken, I don't know how many of you saw the movie today, but they took me somewhere really beautiful. The Akashic Records Library. I mean, I didn't get tortured, I didn't get scooped and scraped and all those things. But with all the movies I've made, what I have noticed, other than what Brett just said, which surprised me, was that in the 80s and 90s there were horrific people being taken and things run up their nose and everywhere. It sounded grueling, but I did not hear that this century. I'm not hearing of those grueling machines going up all parts of your bodies like we were 20 years ago. So I think they're ascending with their testing on us, unless I'm missing those people that are still being really horrifically treated. But I haven't been hearing that in the last bunch of years. It feels to me like all of us are ascending together.
What's your name?
Michael.
Michael, what's up?
First, I want to say I think that the essence of humanity is based on cooperation rather than competition. I firmly believe that, and that's kind of where I put my faith and trust. My question kind of dovetailed with what you guys were talking about. Nazis, Patty, the cabal, good and bad ETs. What is the panel's opinion of some of this amazing information from whistleblower Corey Good? What do you think about some of this?